Hello, and welcome everybody to another PMsquare live stream. My name is Ryan Dolley. I'm the Director of Technology here at PMsquare, and I'm happy to see everybody in the chat today. We've got a really good show for you today for two reasons. The first is that what we're going to be showing you today is just really cool. That's reason 1A, it's really cool. And reason 1B is that it's free. So we've put a lot of work into this, what we're unveiling, and we think you're really going to love it. It's going to make your Cognos developer life much better. And so we're excited to have it on today. And the second reason to be excited is that I'm joined by a very special guest today, Mr. CognosPaul, who will be jumping on in just a second. So with that said, let's just get right into it here and see who all is here. I see a lot of our regulars, Sanish, Nick, good to see you again, Nick, Rayo, Fernando, Jonathan, hi from Brazil, hi from Nottingham, London, of course. Hi to everyone from Detroit, and Paul is joining us from Israel, so we've got an international audience today. Very excited to share this with you. So let's get started. Let me jump over here here we go. So what you're going to want to do is make sure that you go to let me just hide this black box here. Whoop, there we go. Make sure that you go to pmsquare.com/CogBox, CogBox. That's how you're going to get this. So you go to pmsquare.com/CogBox, and you're going to see everything about the CogBox that you could want to know, how to get it, what's in it, and so grab that right now. It's easy to install. It's a Cognos extension, so you simply upload the extension. It's going to give you access to all sorts of good stuff. There's kind of two parts to the CogBox that we're going to take a look at today. The first is kind of the quality of life enhancements to make your development life easier. And the second is we have got a big library of custom controls that we're making available to you. This is the best stuff that we've developed over the years that you're going to want to get your hands on to really make your reports pop. So check out the website, download the CogBox now, and without further ado, let's introduce the giant brain behind the CogBox, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. CognosPaul. So just give me 1 second here to get your audio up, Paul. All right, Paul, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. You know, Paul, I was thinking the last time we live streamed together was in February of this year. We did it in person, and that feels like it was a million years ago.
It was this year? Wow.
I know.
9 months ago. Wow.
Yeah.
A lot has happened since then.
A lot has happened. There's been this little pandemic, and Paul, you've moved from Wisconsin to Israel, and I moved from Wisconsin to Detroit. So Paul and I used to live about an hour from one another, and we could get together and play board games and drink whiskey and all that stuff. And now we're scattered like leaves in the wind.
Yep. I miss board games.
Oh yeah, me too. That was fun. All right, so. Before we jump into showing you what's in the CogBox, would you mind just giving us kind of some background on it, and how did you come up with the idea for this, Paul, and sort of, you know, what was the spirit of you building this, and what problems were you trying to solve?
Honestly, for the most part, I needed stuff that IBM simply wasn't providing. For example, when we were using Internet Explorer to build reports, we could copy objects out of the reports, edit them very quickly, and paste it back in. But you can't do that anymore in Chrome. And there were so many other small things that just drove me crazy about Cognos that IBM didn't have a high priority to fix. So eventually I figured out that I don't need IBM to make these fixes. I can do it myself. And so the very first extension that I made was the Clipboard editor, which has gone through a lot of changes since I first made it. I've also had a RFE in IBM for, I don't know, I think it's approaching 4 years now, which I think is still under consideration. And that was a mechanism to upload JavaScript files to make it easier for developers to build reports. And I got tired of waiting for IBM to do it, so I just made it myself.
Yeah, I think that's really the theme of what you guys are going to see today. Is it's a lot of stuff that we've asked for or IBM has asked for. I know that there are a couple things in here that were specific requests I had, or actually an RFE that I put in with IBM that got denied. And then I said, okay, Paul, can you please make this happen? So that's really what we're going to be seeing today. The whole idea behind this is things designed to make your life easier. There's a lot to show. There's the CogBox, there's the custom controls, which kind of are part of the CogBox family, but don't necessarily come in the CogBox. And then there's a couple of things we're going to unveil that we're working on that should come out in the next couple of months that you're going to be pretty excited about too. So first thing to show, and this, Paul made me promise to show this because he likes it so much, is you notice in our Cognos environment, we've got these little pin icons here. So what these do for people who really want kind of the full screen Cognos experience is these pin icons will go ahead and turn the side and the top bar into kind of responsive areas at the edge of the screen to make the side and the top bar slide out. So they're gone. How do they come back? Well, if I hover over here, you'll see it. The sidebar reappears. If I hover over the top bar reappears. So that's something, that's just a little trick that we came up with that we're happy to share with you guys if you're interested in it. Now let's dive into some of the features in the CogBox. And we're going to start from the bottom. Oh, the black bar is back, I've been told. Let me go ahead and cancel that. Let me hide that guy. I did not want the black bar in today's stream. Boom. All right, black bar is gone. So we're going to start... we're going to build momentum with what you're showing here today. It's going to get cooler and cooler as we go on. So the first thing I want to show is this was one of my requests, and this is all about workflow in, well, that's interesting looking, isn't it? There we go. So this is all about, what's that, Paul?
How's your CPU doing?
Oh, it's totally maxed. We have a ton. We have to have a ton of stuff running during this live stream in order to get Paul's audio and Paul's video and my video, and so my CPU is really chugging over here. But this was one of my requests, and it is simply that I find when I am editing a dashboard that the process of figuring out, okay, what data module is this built on? Where is the data module? How do I edit the data module? There's too much to keep in mind and too many clicks. So you can see right here, we've got the CogBox icon. If I click on the CogBox, you've got the modules and Get Assistance. Get Assistance it takes you to a page at PMsquare. I guess I'll show you guys that now. It takes you to a page at PMsquare at our website that is designed to show you, it should take you to that page. Apparently it doesn't. Well, in any case, what it will do is take you to a page. There we go, CogBox Assistance page. So you can see from here, you can schedule a 15-minute chat with us to get help with the CogBox should you need it. And then it's got some information about other services that PMsquare offers and things like that. Let me close that out. So you'll see that on all of the various features of the CogBox, you'll always be able to get assistance. Now, the other thing you'll see here is I'm in this dashboard and I click on modules. And you notice that it's actually going to show me a list of all the data modules that are feeding this dashboard. So whether I have 1 or 10, they all appear here. I can filter them. I can look for different types of objects. So it's not just data modules. It would show data sets and that sort of stuff. But what I can do here, two things that are really helpful. The first thing you can do is click this edit button, and it's actually going to open the source data module for me. So I don't have to leave the dashboard and navigate to the source module and open it up. It doesn't seem like that big a deal, but when you spend a lot of time working in data modules, or in dashboards rather, it can get to be a real pain to always have to do that. This does it for you. And the other beautiful thing is you can make your changes in here. And then if you go back to your dashboard, you'll see, and again, I apologize for the slight performance hit we're taking here with everything that is going on, but you'll see if I open the modules section, it has a refresh button. So it reloads the metadata model for you and refreshes your dashboard. Now, the process that you would normally have to take to reload the model is, of course, you click here and you click on California website visits, and then you click, or rather you go back, you actually have to go back to this page, and you choose relink, and then you have to re-navigate to it. And it's a lot of clicks that you have to use in dashboards in order to open the data module that you want and then refresh the page. We've taken it all down to 2 clicks. So it's as simple as that. Paul, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I do have one question. What's that icon next to the CogBox?
Oh, that's funny that you mentioned that, Paul, and that you just happened to notice it while we were live streaming. This is something, it's in the lab, so it's not, it's a beta thing right now. Let me just show you that if you click this, you'll see a comment section has been added to Cognos that puts comments on all the objects in the Cognos UI, including things like data modules and in saved output. And I could add here a comment like, if you think my beard is awesome, give this video a like. So then you could see like, Paul, everyone knows your beard is awesome. And I'll go.
That reassurance. Thank you.
I'll go ahead and add a comment there, and you see it adds our Dolley's comment in here. Now, anybody who comes into this dashboard can see the comments. So that's a beta thing. If you are interested in that, please do let us know. That's something we're going to be making available before the end of the year. All right, now let's take a look at the CogBox features in data modules. So let's go ahead and open this California website visits data module and take a look at what you can do in here. So when you open the CogBox and data modules, you'll see reorder query and show data items. And actually, I don't want to show this one. Well, what the heck? Let's just do it. So what you can see in here, reorder query will list all of the queries in the data module. So in this case, we have 1, but if we had 10, it would show 10, right? And it gives you the ability to sort the query items in the query subjects in the data module. So in this case, you can see it's kind of in a random order. I can sort it ascending, and now it's in ascending order. I can sort it descending, and now it's in descending order. Or you can sort it in the CognosPaul magic order, which is identifier, attribute, measure. Right, Paul?
Identifier, attribute, measure, folders, and filters.
Okay, identifier, attribute, measure, folder, filter. Right.
And any objects that I don't recognize will just be dumped at the bottom. Okay.
So very easy to make you to make it give you the ability to reorder these things. Now, without the CogBox, the only way you can reorder them is manually dragging and dropping them. It's a real pain. So this makes it instantaneous. And I saw Sonia in the chat saying she takes credit for it. Yeah, Sonia was working at a client of ours who has like 600 column tables. And so she would import them, and then she would have to reorder the 600 column tables to be in the order they wanted them in. And it was just like an all-day task. And now it's just a couple of clicks. The other thing I want to show you, and I guess I will open a bigger data module for this. So let's just go home and open. I should have, let's open Great Outdoors module to show this one. So what you can see in here, the other item in the CogBox for you data module lovers out there is show data items. So what show data items does is let me just do that again because it got a little weird. So here you can see the list of all of the queries and query items in the data module. You can see all of their identifiers, the expression, the usage type, aggregation type, the data type, and whether or not it's in a nav path. So all of these properties are hidden in the properties window, and you can only look at the properties basically of any one item at a time. This lets you see the properties of everything that's in the data module, organized by tables, and it gives you the ability to search. So you could search in here and say, okay, I want to see everything that has a retailer in it, right? It'll show you all the items with retailer. And if you click on it, it will highlight that item in the data module. So I want to see retailer type. Show me retailer code. It changes what table's in focus and highlights retailer code right there. So this is a really easy way to search through a data module and find the things you're looking for. Especially when I find this most useful is when I'm looking for something like, show me everything that's a measure, for example. Because as you know, when you import data into Cognos, it does its best. It does the best it can at figuring out what's a measure, but it doesn't always get it right. A lot of times you're going to have identifiers. Anything that's numeric might be identified as a measure, and you maybe don't want it to be a measure. So that's really what this is all about. Now, I see a question, can we edit the usage property here and have that reflected in the data module? So, Paul, what are your thoughts on that?
I can. One of the reasons that I have not set it up for this yet is that I don't have a way of adding the change the undo stack. And that's my big concern. If you make a change that you don't like, you will not have a way of undoing it unless you close the data module and reopen it. As soon as I figure out how to add something to the undo stack, I will do it. I might just add that anyway, because so many people have been asking for it.
Yeah, I think
eventually.
Oh, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I was about to say, eventually the idea is I will allow you to edit any of the items that you have in here, regardless of if that will break your data module or not.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's, you heard it here, folks. It's on the something we're looking to do. So one of the things to keep in mind with the CogBox is, we're going to continue to enhance this thing. So when you sign up for it, we ask for your contact information. And one of the primary things we're going to use that contact information for is letting you know when there's a new release of the CogBox. So this is going to be evolving over time. And the ability to come in here and change usage from an identifier to a measure from this window is something that we hope to be adding soon. Now, I've seen a couple questions about the comments, and our comments only in dashboards. No, comments are everywhere in Cognos. So if you see here, I have a comment window. I should have a comment window.
You should.
It's not quite working properly. Well, like I said, this is in beta.
Buggy.
Yeah, this is why it's a beta. But the comment window, the icon you can see here. And when we go into reporting, you're going to see the icon there too. So the idea is these comments are in all of the Cognos interfaces. And people would be able to add comments anywhere. So, your data module, like one thing that I would advocate you do if you're using this commenting system is, hey, when you make a change to a data module, you need to add a comment describing what it is you did. And then you'll have a record in that data module of every change that anybody ever made in there. Okay. Will it work if the source is a cube? In this case what is it in Kieran in the will it, okay. I blame IBM for changing something in R7. Yeah. Yeah, I see that. It's funny to be talking to Paul and reading Paul's comments at the same time. I feel like Paul's incepting me. Okay, so now, go ahead, Paul.
I don't think the data items list will work right away with cubes because cubes returns the metadata as it's being loaded. I don't think the data module has the entire metadata tree when you load it. It's not something I've tested, but I can certainly look into getting it working with cubes inside a data module.
Yeah, and some questions: can comments be edited, updated, and can admins able to set read-write rules to comments?
Edited, yes. Deleted, yes, if you are the user that made it. The comments are, at the moment, just a row inside a table. So admins can go in and look at it. It's still very early in the development of the product. So there are a lot of changes that we do have in store for it.
Yeah, if you are interested enough in the commenting, so the commenting is probably, it's not going to be a free utility like the CogBox is. It's something, it's required enough development effort and that it's something that we're going to want to charge for. So if you're interested enough in the commenting tool that you think it's something that you or your organization would be willing to purchase, let us know. You can just say so in the chat now, or reach out to us after the chat, because that would be good information to have. Help us make development decisions on what we're going to be focusing on, because we've got so many awesome ideas here at PMsquare about what we could deliver for you guys that your help in prioritizing actually would be pretty useful. All right, that was like the appetizer. Is when you open the CogBox, what do you get in dashboards and in data modules? The main course is what do you get in reporting. So let's dive into that. So well, that's interesting. Why did that pop up? I am going to close out of Cognos and reopen it.
That's the data modules comment.
Yeah, the data modules comment popped up. I do think some of this is related to the fact that my CPU is pegged at 100 in order to do this live stream. So let's just go ahead and reopen Fancy Report. That's the one you wanted to start with, right, Paul?
Fancy Report, yes.
Okay. So let's take a look at what you can do with the CogBox in report authoring. So here's a fancy report that we built. And first of all, you can see when you open the CogBox, what do you have? You get clipboard editing, the ability to edit parameters, a control creator, the ability to create a param table, the ability to turn on copy. So you know that Cognos locks you out of the ability to copy lots of stuff, text on the page that you might want to copy. The toggle copy button gives you the ability to do that. And then, of course, the Git assistance that will take you to the PMsquare page. So in order to show this stuff, I guess I probably want to start in edit mode.
That's a good idea.
So let's close out of this and open this in the editor. So hopping into the editor here, the first thing that we're going to take a look at is the edit clipboard. So what edit clipboard is really useful for, and actually there's a different report I want to use to show this because it's very simple. Oh, I didn't save it. Okay, that's fine. Let's just build one on the fly. So what Edit Clipboard does is Edit Clipboard gives you the ability to, and this is so cool. It's just the handiest thing in the world. So let me just build very quickly for you guys a simple crosstab, and then show you how we can go about doing this. So let's grab data and ye olde great outdoors data module, and let's just build something with, say, retailer type and year. And let's add gross profit. And let's take a look real quick at this query. And for the sake of simplicity, let's drop product type in here as well. So here's a great example of what you can use this for, okay? This just blew my mind when Paul first showed it to me. Okay, so say you've got, let's pretend we got 100 objects on this page or whatever, and you say, I need to look at the report spec and edit something in this crosstab. And again, we're just imagining there's a lot of other stuff on here, to where you would look at the report spec and, you know, it'd be a pain to deal with this giant report spec when all you want to do is edit this little crosstab. What you can do, you click on the crosstab and then you come up here to the CogBox. You copy it. So copy it, okay? And then you click on here on the CogBox and say Edit Clipboard, and it opens right here within the Cognos UI the part of the report spec for just the object you copied. And it gives you the ability to do things like find replace. So in this case, maybe we want to replace retailer type in just this crosstab, not the whole document, but just this crosstab with product type, okay? You choose find replace. It says replaced one instances. That's great. Now you choose finish. Okay, so you can go through here and, you know, make sure what it did is right if you want, but you choose finish. And then you'll notice if I come back here and paste, here I've got that same object, but with the replace that I put into it. So as far as, you know, if you what you're trying to do is edit, you need to edit the report spec for certain reasons, but you don't want to dump, you know, this saves you from dumping the Notepad++ and searching through the whole report spec. You know, maybe you've got a 7,000 or a 10,000 line report spec and you're just looking for you just want to edit a tiny piece of it. This just handles that for you. Now, Paul, how is it that you find yourself most frequently using this?
It's things like that. I might have a query where I have 100 data items in it, and I need to replace every instance of a call to a specific data item. Or there are so many different cases where I've used this. I just find it easier at this point to modify the XML, especially if it's something really small. I might have inadvertently written the wrong calculation for something and repeated that mistake multiple times. I just copy the query and make the change to the data items and the expressions and paste it back in. I use it a lot for crosstabs because in crosstabs you can't edit the source of specific nodes. So like what you just did now, you can't change the product type node. You'd have to delete that and replace it with something else. And doing that, you would change the intersections in the layout. So it's very useful for crosstabs, for graphs, any object that you can't normally change easily.
Yeah, it's like I said when I introed this one, it was one of those.
Another thing that I just remembered is you can do this with things like local classes, and you can add styles that are normally not available in.
So a couple.
Go ahead.
A couple questions, Paul. Rick asks, well, what if you have a report with master detail? Would this help work with that too?
Yeah. All you're doing is you are taking an object in the report and you're looking at the XML that's using the underlying XML for that object. So when you paste it back in, it's still working exactly the same way. The master detail is really an XML attribute on that object.
Great. Okay, so that covers edit clipboard. Now let's take a look at edit parameters. So here we've got fancy report, and let's just go ahead and run this guy just to show you what this.
Run it from here.
Oh,
run it from here. Oops.
Too late. Let us run fancy report. So here's a fancy report. And you'll notice this report, and we're going to dig into some of the things that you see in this report in a second, because a lot of these are premium add-ons to the CogBox. But one thing, so you'll notice we've got this custom control for this nice prompt menu. So let's say I'm testing this, and I'm looking at June 2011, and I'm looking at Central Europe, right? So I run the report for that data, and let's go ahead and finish. Okay, so I ran the report for that data, and now I've discovered something. And anybody who's developed reports knows that you've got certain params that error out or that don't work or that are returning bad data. It can be really challenging in the report authoring process to deal with that, right? Because you constantly resetting. You like make a change, you run the report, it reprompts you. You make a change, you run the report, it reprompts you, or it retains prompt values that you don't like, that sort of stuff. Well, if you check edit parameters, you'll see it lists every param in the report, and it gives you this helpful window where you can actually copy the param values. So to show you how this works, I'm going to copy these param values, okay? And we're going to close out a fancy report. So we've lost our param, like the params are gone, right? If I were to run fancy report again, have no params in there or anything like that. But if I were to go in and edit fancy report, and I open the edit param window, and choose load,
Paste it in.
I must have done something wrong.
Did you edit parameters and paste into the window?
Oh, yeah. So you see, thanks, Paul. You see, I paste in those params and then choose load, and it loads all those params in. So anytime you're looking at a report, if you say to yourself, I would really like to capture those parameters, this gives you the ability to do it, to capture the parameters from that report run, and then paste it into the report editor or other report runs of that report. Paul, anything you'd like to add to that? Or
I use this pretty much all the time when I'm developing a report. I use it for testing different scenarios. In here, you can manually add and remove parameters. This is the biggest time saver, I think, that I've made in this.
Right.
So let's say region was a multi-select. You could click plus and add a new value. You can also say, I don't want this. You can just exit out. If you leave one of the rows blank, it'll remove that. It's incredibly useful.
Yep.
And if you do make a mistake, you can click on reload. Like, oops, I didn't mean to remove that.
Yep.
Just click on reload, and it brings it back the way you had when you first opened the window.
Yeah, when it just comes to understanding what params are set during a report run and being able to easily flip those params, especially if you're using, like here you can see params that are controlling whether or not buttons are shown. I mean, it's just so easy to come in here and change something from hide to show. A couple questions. So Rayo asks, does this need to be installed on every dispatcher?
No. All you need to do is go to Management, In fact, I'll walk you through it right now. So go to Management on the left. Not that one. It's the second one up.
Yep.
That one. Customization. Extensions. And just upload.
Yep. So here you would, when you go to PMsquare's website, you're going to get a zip file. The zip file is going to, when you extract it, it's going to contain two things, the Bago controls and the Bago tricks.
It's actually going to have two more things. It's going to have local controls and IBM JavaScript symbols.
Yep.
And I'll describe those later.
Yeah. And so you simply upload those files. And once you upload, so the Bago tricks is what will give you the CogBox menu. And once you upload the Bago tricks, you have this, and you don't need to do anything on it, on any of the servers. You don't need to make sure there's a file on each dispatcher. This is all you do. You simply upload the file, the relevant files, and you're off and running. Okay. There was a second question, I feel like. Oh, do you need to give both display value and use value when you're using the param editor?
Not at all. If you leave either of those options blank, it'll use the other one as that value.
So if I were to
if you go and
add North America here.
Yeah, it's going to try to use North America as the use value, which will cause an error when you try to run the report, because that's not a member unique name.
Right.
So if you click Finish and then reopen, you'll see North America in both fields.
So if I add North America here, finish, and you can see actually like it edited, this is what's so cool. I mean, as you make these changes, it edits this right here while you're changing it. So you can easily, make changes in here, copy this and apply it to a different version of the report. It just makes managing param values infinitely easier. All right, the control creator we're going to save, because that is really where we get deep into CognosPaul territory. But to show you a really simple and kind of quality of life thing, and actually the report's not going to run if I have this in here, right? So I want to take this out.
Yeah, so delete both North Americas, yeah.
Yep, and then finish. Let's take a look at the param table. So I'm just going to embed in here, click the param table button, and you'll notice that it added in here. Oh, I got to paste, right?
Somewhere. Yeah.
So it automatically created a table that displays all the param values. Let's run this to show you what that looks like. Now, obviously, you're not going to want to just dump this param table at the bottom of a report that looks like this. But it's this easy. It's one thing that people often want to do is, hey, I want to show the param selection values on the report output. And I know we all know how to do this, but now you can do it with a couple clicks. So here you can see the param values for all the param selections that we made in the report execution. Just like this, copy paste.
What this is doing is it's going through the report specifications and looking for any instance of prompt macro, prompt, question marks, and I believe it's also looking for param display value and param value. And looking for that string and then finding the parameter name. And that's what it uses to generate the rows in there.
And the final thing to show in here is going to be toggle copy. Now, does toggle copy work on output too, or just in edit mode?
Yes, it does.
So here's a great example. I want to copy camping equipment. I can't copy camping equipment, right? I want to copy that text. You turn on toggle copy, and you notice you can actually highlight and copy the text. So it unlocks the objects to give you the ability to highlight and copy them. In a way, Cognos normally locks you out of doing that. And so now you can easily do that. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, it works. Imagine using this in conjunction with the param editor, okay? Oh, there's a value on here. I want to create a param to filter for that value. I can copy this text, and then I can go into the param editor, and I can paste it in. Saves you a lot of
Also worth
time.
mentioning
Yeah, go ahead,
that
Paul.
if you open the parameter editor again, it detects. Yeah, open that. You see the new button that just got added? Finish and run.
Finish and run, yeah. So it detects that I'm looking at output. Cool.
Yep.
And it reruns the report. So when you're looking at output, you can make param. When you're editing output, you can make param changes, and then when you're looking at output, you can make param changes from the output and just rerun it without going through the prompt page or anything like that. Now, we wanted to show you a few things. We're going to transition to talking about the custom controls. And it's an important thing to understand with the custom. What we just looked at there is what you get in the CogBox. And the CogBox is free. It's every time you open it, it's like Cognos Christmas morning. But the custom controls library we have is kind of the premium stuff. So this is really this has been developed out of a lot of our projects that we've done over the years. Kind of the highest level stuff that we build for customers to make Cognos look and feel more like an app and less like an enterprise BI tool. That stuff is a contact us for pricing, because we really, those are kind of our highest level intellectual property. It's the best stuff we've ever made, and so we want to, that's the type of thing that you use the CogBox for free as much as you want. You love it, and then you look at some of these really flashy add-ons. You say, I want some of that in my environment. Give us a call, and we'll talk to you about how to implement it and work with you to to make it something that you can deploy in your Cognos. So let's take a look at a few of those things. So the first thing you can see here, we already saw, is the ability to click this button and have the prompt pop-up window appear at the top of the page, right? That is a custom control that PMsquare will make available for purchase if you are interested. You can see this link section, a slide out from the side of the page. Now this can contain, in this case, it's got, we've got a number of links in here, but this can contain prompts. In fact, Paul, would you say that's the most used thing this slide out menu is for? Is it's kind of like a slide out prompt page?
Exactly. This is actually the same control that you had going top to bottom, left to right. It's exactly the same control, just different configuration options. In fact, if you also click on reports data or reports, same control. It's very configurable.
Yep. And then we have on here you can see here a control that will pop open this section to give you some information about what you're looking at here, right? So again, an interactive item that pops open and shows you different pieces of information at the click of a button. Now, Paul, do these things work in mobile too?
Yes, they do. In fact, I sent you a link to this page minus the app bar and the nav bar. If you open that, I don't know if you can.
I should be able to, yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the... Okay, this one.
Yep. So if you press F12 after it loads, or while it loads, press F12, and next to the word elements, to the left of that, you're able to see how it would look like on different screens.
So here you can see this is obviously a mobile device. And you can see here how it would work on a mobile device.
And I can tell you that in one of our clients, we do have this working on specifically on, I think, Apple iPhone something or others, and it works great.
Yeah, where do you go? Is this the button?
Click on, not that one. That one actually rotates it.
Okay.
On the left, you have responsive.
Mm-hmm.
So if you click on iPhone X,
you can see how it would look on an iPhone X. Yeah.
Exactly.
iPad Pro. So you can see that this enables us to make a really nice responsive design for use on mobile devices. And again, this is all touch enabled. So here you can see this is another custom control we offer. This button, let's imagine this is on an iPad and you say, I want to switch this to line charts. You simply click this button and it reloads as line charts. So these are the types of things that in our kind of our highest level engagements here at PMsquare, when we're talking about, we're working with really big companies that have very exacting design requirements. These are the types of things that we're doing for them. And we want to make that available, not just to the biggest companies that, the biggest companies that we work with, but we thought about, well, how can we make this something that, we could make available to more of our customer base. And that was really part of the driving thought behind this. So Paul, were there other custom controls to show on here?
Go back to Fancy Report.
Okay.
This one works or that one.
Okay.
Now click on Links.
Okay.
And go to Fancy Report 2.
Yes.
Basic idea, but some of the new stuff.
Okay, so these are things that are brand spanking new that we just we're really we just finished in the last week or two.
I'm still working on the that second button that you see there.
Sure. Okay.
And it's almost done.
Okay, Paul, you want to take control and walk through this, or you want me to?
Sure, I can take control. Request remote control request.
Okay, here you go.
Control. All right. So we have these. This is exactly the same thing that we saw in the other report, except I'm using text instead of icons. So I can switch the measure that we have here from quantity to revenue, product cost, and so on. In the prompt menu, I have a search option for order method. And I have the regular prompt here for region, but I think it's more interesting to click on the cross tab to filter. So now the report is filtered on Asia Pacific, and you can see Asia Pacific is selected in the region. We can do, I don't know, Southern Europe, same idea. And to clear it, we can click on Americas.
That's just so awesome. I love this one.
Now this prompt sets a parameter value and then refreshes the page. But if you don't want the page to refresh? Well, this one looks exactly the same, but this instantly switches between two different blocks. So this is the bar block, this is the table block, and I'm simply doing style display, none, style display, block. And in here, we have expand and collapse, nice and fast. I meant to add the expand all and collapse all up here. Just pretend that they're there, and I click on collapse all, and it does that. And expand all would just loop through and open all of these one at a time.
Now, to be clear, there is the new data table item that does have the expand and collapse, but you'll notice we're not using a data table here. We're using a traditional Cognos crosstab that has expand and collapse built into it now.
Yeah, the data table is getting there. It's not there yet, but it is getting, it's almost at the point where I think it's useful.
It is getting better.
It is getting better.
Yeah.
Now, this is something I'm very proud of. I wrote this a couple of weeks ago. And here we have different email options. So I can email in PDF and Excel. I can select who I want to send it to, who I want to send it to CC or BCC. And you might be asking, Paul, why do you have branches up here? Paul, why do you have branches up here? Well, this is the prompt that I'm going to burst the emails on. So I might want to send to Paul and to Ryan separate emails, one for branch 13, one for branch 14, 15, and so on. So I have all of these selected. Then I press the useful envelope icon, and it's going to be doing stuff in the background. And it sent 3 emails, 13, 14, and 15. I'm guessing one of them took longer than the other. And you don't have your email open.
I'll open it.
My phone just buzzed. I think my phone buzzed again.
Let's just give that a second to load in. And here you can see, those are the emails from Paul. So 3 emails from Paul, attached both as PDF and Excel, sent interactively from the report itself, not scheduled, not run through a menu that you access through the Cognos connection UI, directly from the report output.
Looks like the graph doesn't like being filtered in branch. Whatever, but you also notice that the email name is different for each one.
Right. So it's actually appending the prompt selection to the email name.
Correct.
Nice.
And you can control that in the configuration for the controller.
Great.
And one more thing I want to show.
Sure.
So we're going to close that. Now, this is something that I know a lot of people have been asking for, and that is exporting to PowerPoint.
It popped up on the other screen. So here, let me.
Oh, that's cheating.
Here you go.
So let's save this. You notice because I had Americas selected, it's including Americas in the file name. So we'll click on Save. There it goes. And let's open that up and see how it looks.
All right, it's also off camera, so let me drag it on. There you go.
And there is the report in PowerPoint.
So things to note on here, it managed to fit it's not just an exact copy of the report. It managed to fit it onto the slide in a way that makes sense. It includes on here who actually exported it and the date that it was exported.
In the configuration for the PowerPoint, I also edit the master slide. So if we do insert new slide, that new slide still has the PMsquare logo and this block thing. I'm controlling the name of the PowerPoint. We can insert images, such as graphs, or any image that we have on the server. The table will not always look nice. So when it exports to PowerPoint, you might have to do a little bit of adjustment. It's still a work in progress. The next version of this that I have will support the Cognos 11 graphs. Right now, it's only working with the Cognos 10 graphs. And most importantly, the next version that I make, I'm actually going to make the button look a little bit nicer.
Paul, a lot of people, their jaws are hitting the floor right now in the in the chat.
I've spent a fair amount of time making this, and I'm very happy with where it is. And there's actually one more thing that I want to show, and it's not inside the report. You look at it through the portal. So let's go back to here. We'll go to home. So one of the big things that I've been working on is copy parameters. So when you have a report view, let's take a look at report view 1. So in here, we have one prompt value selected. And let's say that you have a dozen report views, and you make a change and you want to copy the selected parameters from one report view to another, or to a series of report views. How would you do that? So now you can actually go here, copy parameters. And in this case, we only have one parameter selected. I think base report is the one.
Yeah, base report should have 3.
Should have 3, right? Report, 3 prompt values, fine. So we'll go to base reports, copy parameters, and I can select which parameter I want to copy. So let's say I want to copy all 3. Why not? So we'll go to here. I don't remember where we did this.
It's in, no, go up.
It does go up.
Cognos products.
Cognos products.
Param copy paste.
Nice. All right, so I'm going to copy a bunch of report views and a report. Oops, I accidentally selected a folder. I'm sure that's going to break when I paste the parameters. Yeah, I don't want to paste region. So I have country and name selected. Click OK. Oh, new folders, neither a report nor a report view, and we'll skip that. And now, oops, if I take a look at base reports, properties, report, 2 prompt values, and it doesn't have region. It just has country and name.
So what you can do here is really, like, if you say, and this is especially for, I know there are some people who are watching who manage a ton of report views, that what this allows you to do is take a look at a report, say the base report, and copy the params from that base report, and then right in the Cognos UI, paste them to any number of report views. Rather than having to go through the process of setting it one at a time, which is what most of your end users, if you are a heavy report view user, have to do. Is, they say, okay, I want to change this one report view, from, the quarter rolled over, so I want to change it from Q3 to Q4. Now I got to go through 100 report views and change the saved param from Q3 to Q4. Not anymore. Now all you have to do is change it once and then copy paste that param to all the report views, and you're done. So for customers who manage a lot of params, this is truly can save, across the large organization, like hundreds or thousands of hours of effort a year, when you take all that into account.
All right, I think we should start answering some questions.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them in here. So what do you want to handle first, Paul?
All right, let's start from the top. Is this responsive? Yeah. Show iPhone SE.
So we did that.
We showed one of the iPhones. I don't remember which one.
I think X.
I think the smaller. Yeah. This one's a little. SE is a little small, but you can design the report to work with it.
Mm-hmm.
There is actually a custom control in here to allow you to do this. Normally, the report is sitting inside an iframe that is a little bit too wide. The minimum width is set too wide, so I wrote an extension that gets rid of the minimum width. And it only kicks in when you've disabled the app bar and the nav bar. So you could make it as small as you want to. I'm using Flexbox to reorder the items that you see on the page, but you can use your responsive web design of choice. So you can see things rearranging as you make it wider and smaller. So we have PowerPoint X. Prasad, I showed it to you. Do you still want to see it? Let's see. Are the top right button prompts dynamically generated based on query data? It can be. In this case, it's static because I was lazy, but you can attach queries to the controls. And as long as you set up the configuration correctly, it'll be able to pull those data items and use them to populate as many buttons as you want. When we email, can we change the subject line so it adds the current date? Yes. I have it set up so that it can pull static values, values from prompts, values from parameters, and values that you have on the page inside a block. So you could have a block that's set to hidden, and then fill that block with any text you want and just use that as the subject line. And the same thing for the PowerPoint. Any text you see in the PowerPoint can be driven using the same idea. Static text, text item on the page, selected prompt values, selected parameter values, or the text contents of a block. The graphic in the PowerPoint is that real or PowerPoint diagram. It is an image, simply because setting it up as a PowerPoint diagram is a little bit too complex to get it working in a custom control. You would really have to define the elements that you want. It is possible. I'm using a JavaScript library that supports making PowerPoint diagrams. It's just a little bit too complex. Is that all done client-side? Yeah, everything that you're seeing here is JavaScript controls that I've written, so it's all happening on the fly on the client. PowerPoint outputs have been to-do list for IBM.
Yeah. Forever.
When we update the Cognos version, we always need to enter in every single panel and update them. Is there a way to make this more automatic, like all at the same time? I'm not entirely sure what you mean, but this sounds like a really good use for global parameters. So set the Cognos version as a global parameter and just update that whenever you need. Can you demo searchable tree prompts? I can, but I didn't set up the demo because I didn't give myself enough time.
Jeff, we can set something up to show you that really at any time. So we'll get back to you on that one.
The expanding crosstab is a custom control. Is it paid? I just write them. Talk to Ryan about if they're premium or not.
Yeah, if you're interested in that, reach out to me and we can have a conversation about it. So the idea behind it is all the custom controls. We really thought a lot about this, and the custom controls kind of are a lot of our core IP, and so those we need to have a conversation with you about, pricing and that sort of stuff. The base CogBox, like the productivity features, those are all free.
And Prasad, this is the block switcher. In the background, we have two blocks. One has a graph, one has a table. And all this is doing is it's setting one to display none and the other to display block. So it's not actually refreshing the page. I am working on that. The big holdup is getting all of the graphs in Cognos 11 are SVG, and it's just taking me a while to get the JavaScript to convert those SVG elements to image. The library that I'm using supposedly supports SVG images, but in practice, I can't get it to work. So I need to figure out how to convert them from SVG to PNG and then load them into the slide. Once I have that, I'll be able to support it for dashboards and stories.
All right. So I think that covers what we wanted to show today. I would encourage you to go and check out pmsquare.com/CogBox. Download the CogBox. It's like, again, we've said before, it's the CogBox itself. It's totally free. We really want to make these things available to the Cognos community to make your lives easier, make it easier for you to develop stuff. I know it saves me a ton of time. I've heard Paul say many times, and I think it's true, once you have these things, it's hard to imagine developing in Cognos without them, especially if you're doing more complex report authoring. They just really save a ton of time. I see a couple other questions in here. Paul, did you want to field any more? Oh, I see you're doing it in the chat. Okay. All right. So yeah, with that, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Stay in touch with us. So if you enjoyed this presentation and you haven't subscribed to the PMsquare channel yet, please go ahead and click the subscribe button and ring the bell for updates. We did just pass 1,000 subscribers, so I want to thank you all for participating in the channel and the PMsquare community. It really was a big deal for us to do that, and we're really excited to see that so many people attend these live streams and watch our videos, and to see so many regulars. And that's one of my favorite things about it, is the people who I feel like regularly show up, who I feel like I'm starting to get to know, and I look forward to when this pandemic is over and we can all get together in person. That's really going to be great. So with that said, I want to thank all of you. I especially want to thank Paul for having been such a big part of the Cognos community over the last 10 plus years, and taking all of his ridiculously in-depth Cognos knowledge and boiling it down into this CogBox utility. You know, when you go to the CogBox webpage, you can see on here, powered by CognosPaul's giant brain. And it really is true. Paul is the driving force behind this. I saw in the comments, someone said Paul builds it and Ryan sells it. That is really true. So a special thank you to Paul for building all of this and being willing to make it available to everyone, both through the CogBox, but also all the help that I know Paul has provided to hundreds of Cognos developers over the years. So big thank you, Paul. And on behalf of PMsquare, I just want to thank you again for coming, and I look forward to seeing you all again on the next PMsquare live stream. So stay safe and take care, everybody. Bye.
Thank you for having me, Ryan. Have a good day, everyone.